Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, Football Therapy, with me, your host, Jan. Hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course. The daily, sometimes twice daily, like today, series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about the Blues, giving you my opinion on it. More importantly, mate, asking for yours, the viewer, the collective community. Raheem Sterling reportedly done. A deal agreed for £55 million sterling. If you'll excuse the pun. Is that even a pun? Good signing. A good signing. We'll talk about that. We're going to remind ourselves of the stats. What's going on with Rafinha? Barcelona's new mega financial deal could see them get that player. What's going on with the rest of the Chelsea attackers? Etc. etc. We will reflect on that in this video today. Make sure you settle in and please do consider dropping a like. I appreciate all interactions. Very kind of you, mate. Like and subscribe, of course. If you subscribe, make sure you hit the bell, because I'm uploading at least once a day, sometimes twice, and you need to keep up. And to do that, you just make sure all notices are turned on by clicking the bell. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Raheem Sterling, 1 year left on his deal. Manchester City did want him to stay, but couldn't promise him the game time. A lot of Man City fans don't want him to go. He's been consistently putting up decent numbers and is still, well, he's entering his prime. He's in his prime, 27 years old, sort of talisman for England. Won 4 of the last 5 EPLs. Drink every time I say that on a video. And is a leader and fills a homegrown quota. Is a good signing, essentially. Man City would have preferred him to be sold to a Real Madrid or Barcelona. All these other big teams had looked at him. Sterling didn't want to leave the Premier League. He is a London boy, and he is wanting to return to London. He's spoken to the manager, Thomas Tuchel. He's spoken to his England teammates, Chelsea players, to see what it's like to play at Chelsea Football Club, to train at Chelsea Football Club. He wants it. He wants to be that leader, talismanic figure, and Chelsea can hope that we'll get it this time a little bit more than what we had with Romelu Lukaku, who has, of course, completed his loan back to Inter. So, coming from court offside, and I'm referencing this from Cy Phillips on Twitter, Raheem Sterling deal to Chelsea is all agreed. Todd Boehly concluded the deal after weeks of negotiations by Marina Granovskaya. Hearing from other sources, final fee is set to be £55 million. Now, £55 million, that could be including bonuses, including add-ons, performance-based add-ons, which is almost in every single transfer, almost in every single deal. So, for example, speculating here, it could be £45 million plus £10 million in bonuses, which for my money, or from my perspective, that's a pretty darn good deal, and I'd be very, very happy with that. I think Sterling does suit Chelsea. I think he suits Thomas Tuchel. I think he's ready for a change, and I think he's ready to become a new character in a new team in terms of what he represents. Perhaps less of a systemic robot in the Pep Guardiola team. And I'm not trying to be derogatory towards what is probably the best team in the world. I'm just talking about him being a little bit more individualistic. I've given this example before of that recent interview from Jack Grealish, talking about how he's scared to give the ball away in Pep's side and just doesn't express himself like he wants to. His sort of words, you know. Maybe we see a little bit more expression from Raheem Sterling, who's very, very good. We're going to talk about some other transfer news, but seeing as this deal is reportedly agreed for Raheem Sterling, let's remind ourselves of his best metrics on his scouting report. And as you can see, versus attacking mids and wingers, he is in the 99th percentile for expected goals. And yes, he plays for Man City, etc., etc. Still in the hardest league in the world, and obviously this is compared to the top 5 leagues. The 99th percentile for XG. The 99th percentile for non-penalty XG. It doesn't say penalty, so he's still the top. 99th percentile for non-penalty XG in shots. Passes out of bounds, which, by the way, it's good. He doesn't pass out of bounds. He's in the 99th percentile. He's in the top 2% for touches in the attacking penalty area. Again, yes, players in the Guardiola team camped up the pitch, but so did Chelsea often against opposition stubborn defences. He's in the top 3% for non-penalty XG and expected assist. GCA is fouls leading to goal scoring or chances, so basically he gets fouled a lot. He's very good with the ball close to his feet, close control, draws opposition in, they have to foul them. Chelsea get a free kick, massively important. Chelsea benefited so much from having Eden Hazard doing that in the glory days. Similarly with Aston Villa and the aforementioned Jack Grealish, he was very good at that as well. Goals, he's in the top, he's in the 95th percentile, top 5%. He's a goal, 0.53 goals per game, over a goal every other game, which is ridiculous for like a wide forward. Again, you wouldn't necessarily expect these numbers immediately at Chelsea, but this is a guy that consistently has done this for years and years. Very good pass completion, as you'd expect. Even for a forward, forwards generally have lower pass completion than people towards the back of the field, but Guardiola trained forward, your pass completion is going to be very, very good. Wins a lot of penalty kicks, like we said. And he's really high for non-penalty goals. And he's really good for tackles in the attacking third. And I actually think another really good attribute of Raheem Sterling is his pressures in the final third. Pressing and tackles, high turnovers. We say it all the time here on the channel. Thomas Tuchel loves high turnovers and getting the ball back immediately. The best teams in the world do that. He wants to do that. Raheem Sterling is very good at that. So, of course, this is just the report saying that it's agreed that it's done in that sense. We need to hear final confirmation. I'm sure we'll get here we go, and we will react accordingly when that happens. Okay, so let's talk about Rafinha. He wants to go to Barcelona, is what the reports say. He's happy to go to Chelsea if he can't go to Barcelona. If he can't go to Barcelona, Chelsea's next. People are sort of offended by that, but that's how it goes, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure if Real Madrid came in for Hazard when we did, he'd go to Real Madrid. It's just the way it is. Do you know what I mean? You can't feel... Your club isn't always going to be everyone's dream. This is why we love people like Mason Mount and Reece James, because Chelsea is their dream club and they're at it. And people take that for granted, I think, sometimes. Rafinha is a Brazilian guy and he wants to go to Barcelona. He doesn't really care about Chelsea, probably Leeds to a degree. But he'd happily go to Chelsea and see that as a massive career upgrade. But it's not his priority. Now, Barcelona, of course, I did a video about this on my second channel. Do go check it out, Football Yannick. Barcelona have just signed a deal with a company they've given 10% of their TV license rights for 25 years, which essentially gives them 260 million euros this transfer window. I mean, a lot of that might be for amortized wages and stuff. It lets them register Andreas Christensen and Frank Kessie. It probably lets them either register Ousmane Dembele on a better deal that he wants. And Ousmane Dembele does want to stay at Barcelona. He just wants good money. Rafinha does. I mean, despite them being in financial problems, Barca, players still want to go there. It's still Barcelona. Rafinha and Ousmane Dembele do want to go. I think they'll only register and sign one. Who knows, maybe two with this new money. But if there's just one, odds are Chelsea are going to get the other one. So yeah, there's reports suggesting that despite the proposal of Chelsea, Barcelona are convinced that they can hijack the Rafinha deal. The thing is, they'll need to, as things stand, Leeds are like, well, we're going to honour the transfer agreement with Chelsea, £60 million. And unless you come up with that as well, you ain't getting anything. That's great. That's like a professional stance from Leeds. They're not be like, oh, okay, well, we need to sell him. He needs to, if they can't come up with the money, Chelsea will sign Rafinha. That's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen at the moment. We'll see what happens there. Interestingly, as well, Jacob Steinberg of The Guardian reporting Chelsea's late offer for Richarlison was a cash plus a player, not enough to derail Tottenham's deal for the striker. So Tottenham have signed Richarlison, the Brazilian Everton forward. We looked to him here on the channel. We looked at his CDM centre-back stats for a striker. If you've watched my content, you'll probably remember that. It was quite fun. Look, great player, really industrious, and in a more footballing team, he'd have more attacking stats. Great signing, I think, Richarlison for Tottenham. Tottenham is serious. My heart doesn't bleed. The fact how Chelsea didn't sign Richarlison, and probably given the choice between him and Rafinha, yes, I would prefer Rafinha as a more, I don't know, technical and offensive player, I feel. But yeah, it's just further testament that Tottenham do mean business. But Chelsea will sign centre-halves. Interestingly, we seem to be going to get an attacker over the line first in either form of Rafinha and Raheem Sterling, looking like Sterling will be the first. Rafinha could follow, depending on the situation with Barcelona. Deco's out here doing different kind of meetings. And then after that, we'll see some defensive signings, whether that's Matthias de Ligt, whether that actually is Jules Koundé, and that's another one to talk about Barcelona. He's been obviously heavily linked to Barcelona, but they didn't have money. Well, where are they going to get money? Well, now they have money, ladies and gentlemen, so maybe they can sign Jules Koundé. We'll see what happens there. Chelsea will make signings, though. I'm hearing reluctance I'm reading there's reluctance from Man City to actually sell Nathan Ake to Chelsea because they value him, actually. Chelsea may still get him. I think that was probably a little bit of the hold-up with the Raheem Sterling deal. Chelsea were trying to do a double deal. Sounds like, looks like, or the reports suggest they're just doing a loan deal for Raheem Sterling in isolation for 55 million. Or possibly that could be included in add-ons, like we said. So that's interesting. Chelsea will sign defenders, whether it's Ake, whether it's de Ligt, whether it's Presnel Kimpembe, whether it's Bremer from Serie A. We will sign defenders as well. And who knows, later on the window, when we've got an attacker or two, when we've got a centre-back or two, maybe. And by the way, Rafinha may still be utilised as a rotational wing-back attacker style player, a bit like Hudson-Odoi has been under Thomas Tuchel. Might make sense. We'll follow that with great interest. Lots to get into, of course, moving forwards in the coming days. So make sure you do keep it locked. You subscribe, turn the bell on, and I really look forward to seeing all of you very, very soon. Comment down below, and keep it real. Peace.